Okay, guys, I have D for you. We're discussing states are making laws for people to the term is die with dignity if you have a terminal illness. So I'm going to discuss that for you tonight for D. So it falls under end of life and hospice for me. So here we go with tonight's presentation D. The text, it's time state allows death with dignity is referring to legislative efforts in Massachusetts to legalize physician assisted end of life options for terminally ill patients. The surrounding page discusses companion bills H2505 and slash S1486, known as the End of Life Options Act, which aim to give mentally competent adults with a prognosis of 6 months or less the right to request medical aid in dying. These bills are modeled after the Oregon Death with Dignity Act and similar laws in other states. The bills include several safeguards, such as requiring 2 doctors to confirm the terminal illness and prognosis, ensuring the individual can self-administer the medication, and allowing patients to withdraw their request at any time, despite strong public support reflected in recent polls. The legislative process has been slow, and past attempts have stalled without a vote. Opponents raise concern about potential abuse and the impact on vulnerable populations. But supporters argue for compassionate, hold on, I'll get sheets. Compassionate choices and the importance of personal autonomy in end of life decisions. Okay. The editorial advocates for Massachusetts lawmakers to prioritize and enact these bills, emphasizing that the legislation has been thoroughly vetted and includes necessary protections. It urges the states to take action and follow their judgment or adjudications that have already adopted similar measures. The history of, and then here you go, guys. Here's another part of this. The history of death with dignity laws in the United States is rooted in the broader right to die movement, which has evolved over decades. Early advocacy. The movement gained momentum in the 1980s with the founding of Hemlock Society, an organization advocating for the rights of terminally ill individuals to end their lives peacefully. This laid the groundwork for legislation efforts. Okay, then here you go. Here's another part of it, guys. Oregon's pioneering law. In 1984, Oregon became the first state to pass a death with dignity law, known as the Oregon Death with Dignity Act. This law allows terminally ill, mentally competent adults to request. Hold on. I'll get the other sheets. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. And self-administer life-ending medications. It went into effect in 1987 after surviving legal challenges. Expansion to other states. Over the years, other states followed Oregon's lead. Washington passed a similar law in 2008, followed by Vermont in 2013, California in 2015, Colorado in 2016, and several others. Each law includes safeguards to ensure the process is voluntary and carefully regulated. Recent developments in recent years, states like New Mexico and Maine have enacted death with dignity laws, bringing the total number of adjudications with such legislation to 10 amendments to existing laws have also been made to improve access and address residency requirements. Okay, here you go. Ongoing debate. The movement continues to face opposition from some groups, citing ethical, religious, and societal concerns. However, public support for these laws has grown, reflecting a shift in attitudes toward end-of-life autonomy. The movement's history highlights a balance between compassion for terminally ill individuals and the need. Hold on. I get another page. Okay. For stringent safeguards. If you'd like, I can delve deeper into specific milestones of or states. Now, guys, I've added more to this, so give me a little bit to get this all out for you. Okay, then the rest of it is the main difference between states' death with dignity laws in the U.S. often revolve around eligibility criteria, procedural requirements, and safeguards. Here are some key variations. Okay, residency requirements. Most states require patients to be residents to access death with dignity laws. For example, Oregon and Washington have specific residency criteria, while others make more flexible guidelines. Okay, waiting periods. The time between the initial request and receiving the prescription varies. For instance, Oregon mandates a 15-day waiting period, while some states have shorter or longer durations. Witness requirements. The number and qualifications of witness needed to sign requests from sign requests form differ. Some states require 2 witnesses, and at least one must not be related to the patient. Okay, here you go. Physician involvement. The role of physicians can vary in some states. Only attending physicians can. Hold on. Okay. I have to set that up. Okay. Prescribe the medication, while others allow consulting physicians to be involved. Mental health evaluations. Some states require mandatory mental health evaluations if there is any doctor doubt about the patient's mental competency, while others leave it to the physician's discretion. Okay, medication administration. All states require the patient to self-administer the medication, but the specific protocols for doing so can differ. Reporting and oversight. States have different reporting requirements to ensure compliance and transparency. Some have detailed annual reports, while others may have less stringent oversight. These differences reflect the unique legislative approaches to each state as taken into balance, autonomy, ethical considerations, and safeguards. If you'd like, I can provide more details about a specific state's law. Okay, I've got more on this, guys, so give me a break. Give me a few minutes to finish. The difference in state death with dignity laws can significantly impact patient choices as they determine how accessible and practical the option is. Okay. That one's done. All right. For individuals seeking end-of-life autonomy, here are some ways these variations play a role. Residency requirement for patients who live in a state without such laws. Residency restriction can be a major hinder. Patients may need to relocate temporarily to access these options, which can be challenging for terminally ill individuals and their families. Waiting periods. Longer waiting periods might pose difficulties for patients whose consideration or conditions are rapidly deteriorating, potentially leaving them unable to complete the process. Shorter waiting periods offer more timely access. Okay, then there's mental health evaluations. In states with stringent mental health evaluation requirements, patients may face additional delays or hinders, especially if there is limited access to qualified evaluations. However, these safeguards ensure the patient is mentally competent to make the decision. Witness requirements. Stricter witness requirements can complicate the process, especially for individuals. Hold on, folks. Okay, last page. Without supportive social networks, while states with more flexible rules make the process more accessible. Okay, then there's physician availability. In states where physicians play a critical role, patients may face challenges finding willing and qualified doctors, especially in rural areas. States with provisions for consulting physicians can sometimes alleviate this issue. Cost of medication and prices vary in the cost and availability of life-ending medications can impact affordability, leaving lower income patients with fewer options. Ultimately, patients' choices are heavily influenced by the state's legislative framework, inaccessible or cumbersome laws can deter individuals from pursuing physician-assisted dying, even if they are otherwise eligible and wish to choose this path. If you'd like, I can explore specific states further or discuss advocacy efforts related to to these differences. Okay, guys, I did that one for everybody's FYI because if people have terminal illnesses, um, if there's no chance of recovery, and if someone doesn't want to be a vegetable, um, you know, in certain states, like I said, they can choose to do so, but you have to be able to. The rule is that you have to be able to administer your own medication. You know, you have to be of sound mind, you know, to do that for yourself. Um, that like I said, in different states, this is a major issue for people to uh, get over. Like I've seen where people have terminal illnesses, they go to a state that has that option for long enough to fulfill the the wish that they have to have assistance with that option for themselves. So that's my feeling on that. I hope this show has given somebody's insight. Some people some insights about death with dignity, and people that have terminal illnesses that aren't going to make it any better. I hope that this explains more in detail on the process of having help, having that option for people. So I hope this show has helped some people understand death with dignity. That's exactly why I did it tonight. So, with that being said, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.